Gentlemen, you ready? Here we go. He did it. He did it.
You're
Okay.
live now.
Okay. Where the music?
My name is Abina Johnson, and this is Focus on Liberia. Hit it! From Kemau to Cape Palmer, mountain back to Atlantic Ocean, Obomi Hills to Bokonjre, to educate, elevate, and promote. Yeah, focus on Liberia, for Liberia, Liberia, for Liberia, yeah, 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 yeah. From Monday to Sunday, from Monday to Sunday, it's focus on Liberia. Talk about home affairs, eh? In diaspora, current affairs, reliable information, history, talking about culture, politics, education, entertainment, business, sports, advertisement, articulation. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. From Monday to Sunday.
At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis Ja.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, listeners, and welcome. Tonight is Friday. It's Friday Night Debate on FOL. We're glad you could join us. Please share the show and invite someone to join you. So we have a lot to talk about. Let me present to you our panelists who will be debating the issues tonight. Let's start with our fellow in the nation's capital, Jimmy. Welcome.
Hey, Mr. Nanga, it's a pleasure being here. I hope we can shed light on the activities and ongoings in our native land and see how best we can contribute to the progress of our people.
Glad you could join us. Father Washington, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Victor. It's always a pleasure to be here to share the platform with our brothers from home and talk about the issues in our country and see how we can contribute to positive impact of our nation. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us. Reverend Sirleaf, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mr. Langwe. It's good to be here with these erudite men with great ideas to discuss Liberia's issue. I'm looking forward to a great show tonight.
Thank you for joining in. Duke from the land of Maple Leaf. Welcome from Canada, my brother. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Victor. It's a pleasure to be here.
Councillor Freeman, thank you for joining in. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you very much. A lot is happening, so a lot to talk about, I guess.
And to our youngest, and I guess the most firebrand on the panel, Mr. Morris Alves, welcome. Glad you could join us.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Number. And I don't think there's any evidence that I'm the youngest. Maybe my face looks young, but my age is old in spirit. Well, look, what a
That
time to be alive and to be a Liberian. We're excited to talk about it today.
is,
And seditions against cash violence. That's the new movement against this government. Thank you.
yeah. So welcome tonight, gentlemen. As you know, a lot has been happening in the country of late. Besides the troubles and all the stuff going on, we have a storm brewing in the nation's capital. So our producers have broken down our topics tonight to address these issues. So for number one, we want to know who our lawmakers are. Are they legislators or legislators? And then concerning Fonati's removal, Speaker Fonati Koffa's removal plot, who are the actual plotters? Who are the masterminds? Who are the hands that are playing the game behind the scenes? And we like to know what is Speaker Koffa's crime that prompted the removal mission in his absence. We know the Speaker is in the Vatican with the President. There are speculation that it may have been strategically taken off the scene so that this plan will be put in motion. We'll discuss that tonight. How strategic and calculated were the plotters given the money and timing? What was or is the plotters and masterminds goal for their removal plot? What do you make of lawmakers who are withdrawing their votes and signatures? As you know, a number of the lawmakers have come out to denounce their own signatures, their own action. That's funny. Where is the outrage from the Liberian people towards this dishonorable behavior? Honorable men committing dishonorable behavior. Where is the outrage? What do our people have to say? What are they waiting for? Who do you make of looting the criminal? Who do you make of looting and criminalization of the state at the House of Representatives? That's one of the talking points. Who are the winners and losers of this legislative criminal safari we just saw or are still seeing? Because one of the ringleaders was on another network and promising more action to come. What is best for Speaker Koffa to do, to remain, to resign, or what does he do? Do we think this is the final plot to remove Speaker Koffa, or will this keep happening until he's removed? And we like to know, do Liberians tolerate corruption more than any other crimes or immoralities? For instance, same-sex marriage. Do we tolerate corruption more than, say, do we have more tolerance for corruption than same-sex marriage? We'll discuss that. And finally, how do we get the legislative reforms to prevent and mitigate corruption at the House of Representatives? Quite a mouthful. We'll do the best we can. And so for that, I will urge you to be very, very strict, concise, straight to the point. Let's not make it too long. So those are the topics. You can take your pick. I would want us to take a minute and go around, just kind of summarize your understanding of what is happening. Starting with Reverend Sharif.
Why are you picking on me?
Somebody had to do it.
I know. I mean, I think I just summarized the whole thing as corruption is just endemic in our political life, in our civil life and society, and so I think that people have just become numb to it, and they think, well, it's something that's supposed to happen. The people even celebrate corrupt people. They can tell you, oh, this person stole money. You see the people defending that, oh, yeah, but the man stole money. Other people carry their own money outside the country. At least the man who he built one store in red light. We find different ways to defend corruption. And until we take decisive, collaborative, and punitive steps, I don't think corruption will be stemmed out of our national life. We will just keep talking it. It happens, we talk about it. The heat goes down, we go right back to status quo because it's so ingrained in our society that we think it's a normal part of life. So to the extent that if you don't steal, if you're not corrupt, people even see you as the problem. Okay, even your own family. If you went to government, you came back empty-handed, or say, "Well, Your other friend that went to government say what a day you say that you the only Jesus in the house. So people even castigate you for trying to stand against corruption. So that is how corruption has taken over the fabric of our national life. So it's something we have to do. We got to be decisive. We got to be proactive. We got to be punitive about it, or else this will never stop. It just will not end.
Thank you, Reverend. Jimmy, I'd like you to tell us, Jimmy, bring us up to speed. What are the charges that have been made against Speaker Koffa? What are the plotters telling us? What is the reason for making the move as they have attempted to do on the Speaker?
That is a very good question because it stabs at the crux of the matter. It is not evident that the speaker committed some crime or some wrong or directly some wrongdoing, other than that he has called for an audit, which implies that members of the House, after all these years, will come under scrutiny. And that was not well received. As Mr. Dukla was pointing out, not Mr. Sirleaf, rather. Mr. Sirleaf was pointing out there's been this air of impunity, this era of impunity. And many are still wanting to perpetuate this. It's been working for the past 20 years, since 2005, and they want to perpetuate this. But it appears that Speaker Koffa is trying to break with the business as usual, with the status quo, and wants people to be accountable. I think that was a healthy step. But remember, when you're going against a cartel or a system that caters to, embezzlement, kickbacks, you're going to face strong opposition. You're going to face strong opposition.
Yeah.
And this is what's going to have to happen. I heard a lot of things we've said about our country, but this is what's going to have to happen if we're going to ever turn Liberia around. We're going to have to face those who want to keep the ship on this course, where 90% of our people don't benefit from the resources. We don't see our educational system is not improving, our health system not improving. We have resources. We don't see. We can't. We used to say G no hall. We are still being left behind. So I think his crime looks like he's trying to move away from that, business as usual, and they want to get rid of him for that.
Thank you, Jimmy. Councilor Freeman, Jimmy is outlining the underlining reasons that have been provided by the press and other people. But the plotters are espousing different charges. They are telling us that the speaker is guilty of certain things. You're the lawyer on the set, I believe, the only one so far. How do you understand the charges and what are they? Do they amount to sufficient grounds for removal of the speaker?
Well, Jimmy got me laughing. I mean, he was talking. Were you talking about Fonati Koffa? The Fonati that I know, or is Fonati? I got lost when he was talking about Fonati. He said Fonati wants audit. Fonati wants transparency. Isn't the same guy who did an investigation and found out that somebody, manipulated the budget and they committed a criminal offense, and Fonati said he couldn't identify the person, he took no action? Is that the film Fonati you're talking about? And is it the same Fonati who they changed the budget, cut down education, cut down health, cut down the war on drugs, and increase NSA and Ministry of State and EPS and all of those services? Is that the same Fonati? Oh, Jimmy, come on, man. Leopard can change his black spot. Look, here's the problem. Fonati was useless as a speaker, and Fonati was useless as a lawyer. And you gotta be useful for something. Okay? As a speaker, he was the head of the opposition. It was his job to take on the ruling party to create a balance. You gotta be hot or you cool. You have to be white or black, left or right. Fonati wants to be white and he wants to be black. He wants to be a CDC speaker and a UP collaborator. So Fonati wants to chop with Tomofala and CDC, and then he claimed he wants to bring about a transparency. It's not possible to do those things because they are self-contradictory. You and Tomofala can divide the spoils 50-50, and then you claim you want to bring. So that what gets people angry. When you and Tomofala have looted the country, and then you turn around and say, I want to bring an audit, Tomofala be like, but who's bringing the audit? You, Fonati? So I believe that I don't support the bribery, but Fonati needs to be gone as if yesterday, because he has not been of any use as a speaker, and he has not been of any use as a lawyer in that body. He's been there. Yeke Koluba talked about bribery. Fonati, as speaker, could have commission an investigation. As a lawyer, he could have commission an investigation because bribery is a criminal offense and it's a felony at that level. What did Fonati do? Nothing, because it was not in Fonati's interest. So he should be gone. I don't support the bribery, but he should be gone, like yesterday.
Thank you, Councillor. Mr. Morris, I know the councillor is addressing the performance.
Mr. Lambert, one second. Dr. Pearson is waiting in his backstage. He needs to be let in.
Okay, I think
I'll get him. I'll take care of it.
Thank you. So, Mr. Morris, I know the councillor is describing the performance or lack thereof of the speaker, but there are specific allegations that have been levied by the plotters to remove him. They're accusing him of conflict of interest and other stuff. Can we look at this? Yes. Could you help us understand what it is they're alleging? And then,
thank you.
Then we'll come back to, the whole process of his removal, what could have been done and what wasn't done and all that.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Number. Look, this is a case in point of keep your friends close and your enemy closer. Before I even give the explanation about the allegations, I've said on the platforms, in the last year that Joseph Boyka, President Boyka, is like a mafia boss. The man moves like a mafia. He moves like a mafioso. Sometimes when the mafia won't kill your family or they won't kill somebody close to you, when they won't kill your best friend, and you guys are in that, you guys are mobster, they will invite you to the party. Why they go kill your friend. So you don't even know what's going to be on your body. What President Boyka did to Fonati Koffa, they invited him to your own death, to your own funeral, so to speak. But let me say this. Jonathan Fonati Koffa is a brilliant legal man. But his character and his integrity is questionable. Based on his past experiences with the law in this country, his alleged, dealings within the House, of representatives in Liberia. There have been questions raised, whether legitimate or not, and I'm inclined to believe these, questions and allegations, that the Speaker of the House, Jonathan Fonati Koffa, is simultaneously serving as a legal advisor to many corporations and agencies within the Liberian government, that of the LPRC, the Liberian Airport Authority, a lot of these different agencies. He's serving simultaneously as the Speaker of the House, a sitting representative, and as a legal, consultant or legal advisor to some of these agencies. And I think that is very, very highly, you know, unacceptable and is a conflict of interest, obviously. My If you look at my name, underneath my name, I put there seditions against cash violence. The method in which you're using to remove this man is wrong. Any type of inducement with cash to get a desired result in the governance of our country is absolutely wrong. Whether it happened on a Joseph Boyka or George Weah, it's wrong. And this is what President Boyka is trying to do. You have a legitimate case. If these are ironclad cases, you can prove it. You can bring it on the floor. You have certain privileges and you have certain influence as the sitting president to bring it on the floor or to expose it through the media. That if in fact indeed the speaker is serving as simultaneously the speaker of the house and legal advisor for different agencies within government. Leak it to Front Page Africa. Leak it to the New Dawn. Leak it to your co-spawn network. Leak it so that the public start to talk. These guys are not politically savvy. They don't know how to dip their toes in the water and test, the temperature of the Liberian public. If you want to do things, you have to be smart about it. Leak these things out there. Get the Liberian people to start talking, try to foster some anger about the speaker to see that this guy's double dipping. He's eating money from the government while serving as the speaker, as a legal advisor from these different agencies. Then you will have a plausible case to investigate him that may ultimately lead to his removal. That's what smart people do, not mafiosos who wants to use cash violence to get their desired outcome. And that's why this has backfired on the Unity Party like it did. And it's a big, big shame on him, on the president, like the smart would say, war me war, ain't catch Fonati Koffa. So that would be my take for it now. I'll pass the mic back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Morris. Father Washington. Elvis is, he's describing some of the allegations. Is the conflict of interest? We've seen it all in government, but they're alleging conflict of interest, like Elvis said, Mr. Morris, that the speaker, why he is the speaker at the same time, his office, represents a lot of corporations, some of them in government entities, conflict of interest. They're also alleging misrepresentation. It is reported that he sent some communication to ECOWAS.
Is he
You're muted there, Mr. Namwe.
Yeah, I can see here my internet is acting up. But so they're alleging inappropriate, representation and conflict of interest. What I'm asking is, and for the benefit of our audience here, are these grounds for removal? Do we agree or not?
Thank you, Victor. Before I attempt to answer your question, I would just like to provide some understanding when I hear people talk about Fonati Koffa was taken to Rome because that was the way they intend to remove him. I think it's very childish because Fonati is a very staunch Catholic, and one of the privileges that any Catholic will want is to see the Pope. And for Fonati Koffa, this was the time. If Fonati leaves his speakership, he will never see the Pope. He will never have the time to have the audience to see the Pope. So I think there was a great privilege for him that going as a speaker and being a Catholic. I'm sure when he heard that the president was going to the Vatican, he said probably that would be an opportune time for me to go to the Vatican and be able to handle.
Well, Father, though, let me, as you go ahead, I don't think the speaker was initially on the trip. He was here in the States. And I think the president asked him to join him.
Yes, and that's the point I want to make. If you just give him a chance, because he's Catholic, the Pope, amongst them, among the three branches of government, he's the only Catholic in our level. So going to the Vatican to meet the Pope, that would be a privilege for him. So for me, I think that was an opportunity that he took to say, hey, this will be the time for me to go and meet the Pope. I mean, as a Catholic, almost like a Muslim going to Mecca. So this was a great opportunity for him. So for me, for people to keep talking about, he was taken so long to be removed, I think that's very cynical. I'm not sure that's the reason why he would go to the Vatican. I think that was a privilege, and that's an opportunity that he will never have in his lifetime. But to come back to what we're talking about, I just think it's very disgraceful and symbolic for our country. And I keep saying our country is cursed. And, because this is just a manifestation of the thing that keeps saying that this country is cursed. the people who are supposed to, serve their people are the ones sitting there and and being bribed just because they want to remove somebody. You're not happy with the person, you have your rules and you have the way to go about it. Do you have to be bribed? Do you have to take money to be able to remove somebody because that's the only way you can remove them? And I think that's the thing. They might have points again there against what's his name, Koffa, and that's their prerogative, that's their rules. Whatever the thing is not doing what he's required to do, they have every right to convene and say, "Hey, we don't want you to be our speaker." But the fact that they're being induced by bribe, these are the very people who are supposed to set standards for our country. Are the very people who are receiving bribe just to be able to remove somebody because you don't like him or because you think he's not doing the right thing. I think it's so disgraceful for our country. And like Sally said, for me, I don't. It's a cultural thing. So every time when I hear these things happen, it's just the fabric of our society. It's just our culture. That's this, like that corruption is so endemic in our culture that we can do nothing without, being receiving money to do these things, which is a sad for our country. So for me, yeah, if they want to remove it, they can remove it, but receiving bribe to remove it, I just think that's sad. That is sad and very disgraceful for our country.
Thank you, Father. Mr. Dukley, Liberia over the past 30 or so years now, almost, we've skirted around the rules, Asa Yinembo was the president pro tem, I think in the 2000s. He was suspended, I think almost removed, if not removed. Edwin Snow was removed. As Speaker of the House, Madam Sirleaf's time, Alex Tyler was removed. Why is this particular attempt to remove Councillor Koffa, why is it different? Or should we just consider it as just another removal of the Speaker of the House, just like his predecessors?
Well, thank you, Victor, for the question. And I think for anyone who is a keen observer of the Liberia political landscape, this wouldn't come as a surprise. As you have just alluded to, one prominent one that comes to mind is, in 2016, when the chairman of the Unity Party and the Speaker of the House of Representatives were both charged for allegedly participating in a bribery scheme to get the government to change the mining law to help a British firm that was trying to sign a contract in Liberia. Now, so, and this is at the highest level you can imagine. Personally, for me, what bothers me is when I think about what it would take to actually change the culture of impunity. And they've become so flagrant to the point where it's almost like, the attitude that they exhibit is almost like, we can do whatever we want to do and there's going to be no consequence. So people are not, people are not enraged by what they see or what they hear, what they read. And so it emboldens them to do all these things. And again, that's my fear, because like I always say on this platform, we have now come to normalize this way of doing things as this is how things are done. And anyone who tries to say anything to the contrary, you become, they sort of try to trash you away, because the proper way of doing things has not become the thing to avoid, the thing to stay away from. So generations to come and generations that are coming up have now come to see and learn how our elected officials functions. It's almost like there's not a legislation in the House and Senate where the people who are supposed to be effecting these legislations are not tainted with corruption. I mean, something when in a country where people survive on less than $1, in a country where um, it's so burdened by difficulties almost in every sector, and yet the people that are supposed to be looking after the welfare of those desperate people with such a impunity, with such a disregard to human decency. And sometimes we always forget about moral obligations. Sometimes it doesn't have to be legal obligations, but the moral obligation is just as potent and powerful as the legal obligations. But this has to be in our psyche. We the people, like I don't know, somebody was saying on the block, where are the Liberian people? Why is it that people are not enraged? Why is it that people are not? Because people, even the population, even the ordinary people have now come to believe that this is how things are done. We know all of them are corrupt. So I'm just going to find a way to get myself there, so I can eat too. So for me, my worry is how do we reverse this trend where legislators are supposed to be there to legislate and look at the welfare of the people that elected them. I mean, look at how much money they are paid, or they pay themselves. Look at that, and look at all the perks that come with their positions. And in my opinion, 95% of those things are unwarranted. They are not necessary. We shouldn't be giving them that money. They are already well compensated. And then all the little perks that come with it, I mean, it shouldn't be. So one has to go back to where it all started since the cessation of hostility in our country. The trajectory on which we have embarked has not been helpful. And if we continue as we are, it's never going to be helpful, and it's going to lead us to nowhere.
Thank you, Duke. Councilor Freeman,
Yeah.
To Duke's point, I mean, we sat down as Liberians collectively. Any snow was removed. It was alleged that each of the legislators got $5,000 at a time. Alex Tyler was removed. I think it was $10,000 this time. This time it's $15,000 now. So it looks like the price keeps going up. But the point is, every time the attempt is made, it is driven to its conclusion. Getting ready for the show, I was listening to one of the people who are trying to remove the speaker, and it looks like they intend to go ahead with it. I think they are going to create a situation where the speaker will never have the majority that he need to transact business, which would then become a serious political matter. Where does this stop, and who benefits from this kind of chaos?
Okay, so firstly, the House of Representatives don't really need to really spell out a wrongdoing on the part of the speaker, because it's a political body.
Right.
If they lose faith in him as a leader,
yes,
they can remove him.
Correct.
Plus or minus whether they lay down a case. Because mind you, a removal of the speaker is not an impeachment.
No, it's not. I agree with you.
Right. And some people are mistaking it and interpreting it.
The motivation in this instant is what is troubling. I think this is what most people are finding detestable.
They don't have to be, because they are politicians, they don't even have to be direct about their motivation. Okay? So they can find excuses, whatever excuse they can come up with. They don't even have to be direct. All they need is, I don't know what the majority number is. If it is 50, 48, that's all they need.
Right.
If they get it, they can even write Arabic on the paper and sign it and remove him. So the speaker, who's a lawyer, supposed to know that he's operating in a political realm. And in a political realm, you have to be hot or you cool. Okay? You have to be left or right. You have to go left or right. You can stay in the middle of the road, you will get run over. So what I see, it happened with Speaker Tyler.
Yes.
And I remember writing an article because he survived a little scare. And I said the speaker will go, no matter what, he will go. Because we are now talking about a social contract. We are not discussing law now.
Right.
We are discussing a social contract. So he went to the Supreme Court and he won the case. I said, fine, you won in the Supreme Court. Come back. We are not discussing a social contract. The people who you are leading are saying we don't want you again.
Yeah.
And that is Fonati's problem. And he brought it on himself because crimes were being committed in the legislature. As a lawyer, the least Fonati could have done was to investigate those things, turn those people over to the national legislature, not national legislature, to the Ministry of Justice or the LSC. But he was there. Crimes were being committed. He was doing nothing. In fact, he was pardoning people. He was issuing pardon, which was unconstitutional. So there is sufficient basis to remove him. And I don't sympathize with him. I believe he's going to be removed. The fact that 40 persons, he cannot even govern effectively because this is a house of 73 persons. 73, right? If I got the number correct.
73, yeah.
Good.
So two
Yes.
times that would be around
Right.
78
So
or something.
if you're talking about anywhere around 40 persons who say they don't believe in you, you're gone. You're gone. So
Yeah.
I mean, I understand the bribery part of it. I don't support it, but I think he brought it on himself. And if you're talking about it, I mean, this man's a Liberty Party man, then he's a UP collaborator, then he's a CDC speaker, then he's working with the Bwaka people. I mean, this is a man who only looks after himself. And after a while, people
Well, let me ask you this, Councilor, before you land. Didn't Nathaniel McGill and others pardon the Minister of Public Works when he went there to beg for mercy?
that was illegal.
Exactly. And
Fonati is the speaker. So if he is the speaker and he is a lawyer, he owe it to his profession, he owe it to his conscience, he owe it to his country to have said, no, this is illegal. These people need to be forwarded to the Ministry of Justice. But Fonati will not do it because at that point, it was not in Fonati's interest. Okay? So Fonati only acts when it's in Fonati's interest. If it's not in Fonati's interest, he does not act. And so now people are realizing that he's a fraudster, he's fake, and they don't need him. And so goodbye to him. I mean, I don't support the bribery, but he needs to be gone like yesterday.
Thank you.
That Rodney again, your hand there, you shaking, or you will be us the net.
I was just going to say,
Duke, coming as you're coming in, I want you to address this, please. I hear the councilor is saying, yes, they will have a right to remove the speaker whenever they feel, he's not doing the job. So I want you to speak to this as you make your point. Is Marvin Cole, who locked them out, now in the wrong, or where does he stand if they were in the right to attempt to remove Councilor Koffa and Marvin Cole locked them out? So now, which side does Marvin Cole stand? If he prevented what Councilor Freeman is saying was their right to remove him, and he locked them out, where does that place him? Duke.
I just wanted to say, I think the brother Freeman was just saying he is a lawyer. He ought to know. No, he do not. I mean, he does not have to be a lawyer. The mere fact that he's the Speaker of the House, the onus is on him to every violation or every crime must be checked, regardless. He doesn't have to be a lawyer before he bring it to, before he take action. So it just sort of because I get the point, because being a lawyer, he should know better. Yeah, but he doesn't necessarily have to be a lawyer to deal with this transgression against the Liberian people, because one of the functions of his position is to make sure that things work the way they are supposed to be according to the law. And that does not require you necessarily to be a lawyer. Mm-hmm. It comes with the speakership, So I mean, I just wanted to make that clarification. But you
Thank you,
see,
Elvis.
because now there is a leakage, and now things have kind of backfire in a way that they did not expect.
Mhm.
And some of the I don't know, somebody was saying legislate, whatever term they're trying to use
Luther.
there. Yeah, looters. They're not trying to sort of a backtrack and to make themselves look like saints. But I mean, it doesn't really change anything. I think what my prediction is eventually, I think uh, Fonati is not going to survive this, whether now or later. He's not going to survive this because now it has just created this tension where the perpetrators are not going to probably either lie for a bit, and then when things cool up, and then they'll sort of rise up again. So
Right.
and again, you have to go back to when Alex was speaker, how he was dealt with, and when what's his name, uh, um, this guy, this
Snow,
senator from Birmingham,
Tyler,
Edwin Snow,
Tyler.
Edwin
Edwin
Snow,
Snow.
how Edwin Snow was removed. So there is a track here from when our new republic started. Nothing has deviated from that. So it's just one more episode in the way our new governments have functions over the years. So really, like I said, stay tuned. This is not going to end here. It just started, and I don't think Fonati is going to survive this.
I kind of almost think so because, as we alluded to, Edwin Snow tried to fight back, but now he can't. He cannot get the cooperation or the support of the majority of the leaders. So whenever he calls session, they will stay away. I think this might happen. But Elvis, as the CDC said, um, obviously there is a reason for this. First of all, the amount of money involved
You keep going. Keep going in and out. I'm not really hearing you well.
Okay, I think my internet. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, go
Yeah.
ahead.
Okay, I'm trying to figure out. Let's see if we can dig a little deeper. There's a lot of money involved here. Almost $2 million. We understand the former president, is not a fan of Speaker Koffa because he might be the number one person standing in the way of his comeback. That's one factor. We understand the UP people also. I mean, we remember in the early days, Yeka Koluba and the $4,500 allegation against the UP when they actively tried to promote Nangbe Kofakun to the speakership and failed. And there was this attempt to influence the removal of Kofa. So all along, Kofa has been fighting this battle. Now, when you
Yeah,
look at the paper, some of the people who signed they signed it as far back as July. So this thing has been ongoing,
yeah,
and now all of a sudden, he's not in country on a trip, of course, to see the Pope. It once in a lifetime opportunity, and now here we are. So let's look at who stands to benefit. Who might be the people behind all this? Because it's very difficult to unfathom. The CDC on the one hand, they don't seem happy. The UP people on the other hand don't seem happy with Kofa. Where are we going with this?
All right, thank you. Look, Mr. Namu, let me tell you this. President Joseph Boyka wants to have a political hegemony, like what the CDC had. He wants to imitate that. He wants to have the House, the Senate, and the presidency. He wants to have that free passage of whatever laws, he wants to pass without any kind of, obstacle in his way.
But Thomas Fowler went to preside as the deputy speaker. It is widely being reported that he is in line. He's a sedition.
No, it's
He will
widely
have to
been
contest though.
report, it's
Contest.
widely been reported that he is in the camp of Joseph Boyka and is willing to do the bidding of the president. Thomas
Okay.
Fowler is.
But he's officially a
So,
CDC guy, right?
my man,
Yes,
if we're talking political ideology, these guys have any loyalty. They have loyalty to the dollar. But my point here is, this is the president's doing. The president wants political hegemony within the first branch, the second branch, The only thing he can't get political hegemony is the judiciary, because those people have a set time limit, right, before they can retire. But for me, I think what President Boyka is doing, he's setting himself up for a lot of hate, and he's setting himself up for the same rhetoric that they use against President Weah to be used against him. These are some of the things that even some of us who supported President Weah, we couldn't forcefully and full-throatedly defend him on when it came to sectionalization of the government, right? A lot of people from the Southeast dominated this government. People feel it was true in a way, especially in key positions. And Unity Party took that and ran with it, and it had some valid points. And President Boyka is trying to imitate this exact same thing that President Weah partly lost the election on. You want to have the House, the Senate, the presidency. So now you can blame nobody. It's a good and a bad thing, because if the country fails, you can't blame CDC. CDC was not there to obstruct you. CDC was not there to stop anything that you wanted to do. You had the entire country in your hand, and you did, not a jinking thing that my grandfather used to say. So if he goes out there and he gets the position that he wants, and then Unity Party don't succeed the way he thinks they're going to succeed, that's gonna have political consequences. Liberian people are going to see that a lot of the people in these top positions are from local county. A lot of people in these top positions are aligned with the Unity Party, and as such, when they fail collectively, they're going to be removed just the same way CDC will remove. We don't have a democratic or Republican system in Liberia where you have people who are on ideological polar, on the ideological they're diametrically opposed to each other ideologically, where you have a Democrat and you have a Republican, and they're going to stay on their side no matter what. Maybe you're going to have one or two people switching sides to call it curse out. It's not what it is. If the money speak, you know what, it still works. So for me, I think the reality is President Boyka is going to use that cash violence, like he saw under his mentor Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, who introduced it on a wide scale in the Liberian politics. If I want to know what he saw, monkey see, monkey do, and he's going to do that to the fullest to get any result that he desires. So, like people say, price has gone up. If it went from 20,000, it's probably going to double to 40 to 50,000. President Barker definitely want that position. He's going to entice these guys with cash, and they're going to give him what he wants. So ultimately, everybody is right. Fonati Koffa won't survive this. He has his own money personally, but he's a smart man. He's not going to risk his own money to try to one up the sitting president by bribing these guys more money than the president can bribe them. So he's going to be gone. Maybe in the next 6 months, it's going to happen. Maybe they're going to try to build this case about his conflict of interest, make it more solid, and bring it, to the Liberian people and to the representatives, and give them plausible deniability to take him off, from being speaker while they're getting the money in the bank.
Thank you, Ernest. Jimmy, you started on this point. I want you to talk on it a little bit more. So there is the reported concern by the UP, like Elvis indicating, of the UP, wanting to control the mansion, the Senate, the House. And then there is this reported tension within the CDC between the president, the former president, and the speaker. And now there is a third party, a third concern of the speaker's attempt to audit the House, something that hasn't been done in a long while. And there seems to be very powerful people in government who, it has been reported, seem to be bothered by this attempt to bring transparency to the House of Representatives. Speak to this for us. How do we, there seems to be this triangulation of concerns going on from the mansion to the House itself to the CDC.
Yeah, I think the last thing, the audit is what broke the camel's back. Now, let's agree that Speaker Koffa was opposed by the Unity Party from the jump. They did everything they could to get what's his name in there, Kuhn. They did everything they could, and there were allegations of bribery. Or is it my? You guys can hear me okay?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. There were allegations of bribes and bribery and all of that even then. But somehow he managed to salvage, from those people who supported him and still stay as a speaker. But here it is. Since then and now, he's tipped off more people. There are people in the CDC now are signing up to remove him. He's being vehemently opposed to by his own seditions. And why is that? I heard some people alluding that it is because he's standing in the way of President Weah's bid, 2029 bid. I think it's too early for that to be a problem. Okay? What he has, I honestly believe what he has done is something that nobody has done before, and ordering an audit. That is not resonating with a lot of those people in there, you know, and they don't want to even hear that. I think he's playing with dangerous. He's treading dangerously, and they are bucking the system. We have a Senate that awards themselves lavish salaries, lavish benefits. Now they're giving themselves 100,000 and 150,000 allowances to go do whatever they want to do with it. So we have a body that is fleecing the Liberian people. And then you have the speaker of scenes they will come and audit. That he fell in some bad books with these people. And the little support he had before with his fellow seditionists, he's lost that. And the UP already wants to get rid of him. So just like the other gentlemen say here, I believe he's gone. He doesn't have the support he needs now to do it. He got too many people, too many enemies, you know, and I don't know how we will ever get the house that we have upon us, how we ever get them to reduce their salaries, to reduce their benefits, to be fair to the Liberian people. It's going to require some boldness. If we don't start with that, with the House and the legislature, if we can't even reel them in, there's no way we can turn that country around. And if you have to either have a very strong executive who has the support of the people to bring these guys to book, or because internally they have not seen it necessary to allow the people of Liberia to get a break. So we got this thing around our neck that we just can't rid of. And I think the speaker's gone now, yes, because he has ticked too many people off. But I think it's a good thing that he did try to do an audit. I think he will be able to go down with some dignity because he did call for that. I know Councilor Freeman doesn't agree. I know he has a record of the past, but I'm only looking at his actions today.
Yeah. And let me just make a quick point, if I may, Vic. What happened in the Senate? Nyongli decided to call for an audit that is not allowed under Liberian law. She says she wants a system audit. But we don't have a system audit under Liberian law. We have the compliance, we have the financial audit, we have a different type of audit. We have no such thing as a system audit. Okay? And that's the same audit that Fonati were carrying to the House, the system audit. You can't tell me that we don't have a system when you have a public financial management law, you have a Ministry of Finance. Okay? You have a local government law, you have a procurement law, you have an audit law, and you have institutions. So you got laws, you got institutions, and nobody is telling us there's no system in place. So we will do a system audit. No, when the government gives you $1, the government is interested in how you spend that dollar and whether that dollar you spend complies with all the various laws. So Fonati was never interested in any audit. As a matter of fact, if you look at what's going on, like the political arrangement, there are a bunch of armed robbers and Fonati is just one of those armed robbers, and they are fighting among themselves. And to me, it benefits the Liberian people if they can just shoot each other and all perish. So it doesn't matter
Oh
if
my man, come on, man.
Tomo stabs Fonati politically or Fonati stabs Tomo politically. It doesn't matter to me. As far as I'm concerned, it would be better if they just stab each other politically and perish.
Okay, politically.
Father Washington, thank you, Councillor. Let's look at this whole, and Elvis is calling it the cash violence, which I think is
Breaking in there again, Mr. Namwe. I think you're frozen for a
come
second.
into the supposition.
Say it again. Repeat it. We came in and out.
Yeah, my internet is fluctuating tonight. No, I was saying to Father Washington to come in. We know Councillor Koffa spent a lot of money to come into the speaker position. They threw a lot of money around. Now, this time around, it is being alleged that Thomas Fowler might be putting forth some of the money. But there are other names that came up in the early days of this brouhaha. Water and Sewer was named as one of the people. Minister of Transport was named as one of the sources of this money. Can we follow this money for a moment and see what the motive is for driving this process? Yes, Fowler, Deputy Speaker, understandably, it's a striking distance. But what is the motivation of Water and Sewer into this? What is the motivation of Ministry of Transport? I mean, yeah, the Ministry of Transport is headed by Ellie Styler's brother, we understand. Mo Ali is Water and Sewer. He was, I think, the party spokesman during the campaign and stuff like that. So let's put all this together and see, if we can paint a picture.
I mean, you see, that's where this argument that it is Joseph Baka who wants to remove Alex Koffa from so that he can have his leverage over all the branches of government is philosophically flawed. Because if he's the one who wants to do it, why is he using CDC? Why is he using the same people from CDC to remove their own people? And you know what? Fonati Koffa, when they had that little problem at CDC headquarters, when he went there, they didn't listen to him. I think the problem CDC has is that all they anticipated was that Koffa will be the one who will stand up for them so that the government does not succeed. The fact that he's working along with this government makes them angry.
Right.
Because that point is that hey, we just kick them out. So you should be our man to stand up for us, so that whatever thing they're gonna do, you make sure that it does not work. But what the indication we're getting is that you are working along with them. So it seems to be you're not for us. So if you're not for us, we want somebody who will be in there who is going to make sure that it does succeed. So I think that's what CDC wants. So this argument that it's the United Party that wants to remove him so that the guy is like, for me, when I look at that analysis, that's not whole water. Why let's assume they want to do it. Why would they want to use CDC? CDC has the highest number in the house. Why wouldn't they be the one to stand up and say, hey, okay, we'll move what is Nick Koffa? Because he's working along, but we'll make sure that our people get there. But then every time I hear about people talk about politics, I wonder about what is the integrity? Does politics not go with integrity? Does that mean that we are a politician, everything goes? They say, it's a political terrain. So whatever we want to do to succeed, we do it. What is the integrity that you come with as a person, as a human being? And what's your integrity? What do you stand for as a person that your kids can look up to? That this is our dad. He works in the House of Representatives. This is what he stands for. But you're receiving money just to remove somebody. I was asking myself, if money was not given to this guy, would they have removed Koffa? Would they have had the number to remove him?
Let me get 30 seconds, please, Mr. Namwe, to respond to him.
Yeah, he's conflicting himself there. He's conflicting himself.
Elvis, let him finish.
I'm conflicting myself.
Let Father finish.
Yeah.
You want to get one of the conflict?
Oh, because you are saying it is CDC, and then you are saying people are spending money. But who has that kind of money to spend now? It can't be CDC. It must be the government.
Well, Fowler is of CDC, though.
Yes.
CDC does not have money?
No, they don't have that kind of money that you're describing now. They don't have it.
That's a weak argument. So that's
Elvis, you want 30 seconds after that?
Mr.
And also, Elvis, before you come in, let me remind our listeners We'll open the lines shortly. They should start queuing in the next 10 or so minutes. We'll take calls for the also
I just wanted to
participants.
conclude. I just wanted to conclude with the whole thing.
Alves, you got your 30 seconds, and then we're going to
No,
represent.
no, let Father Washington conclude. He wants to conclude. I don't know if you're hearing us. It might be a disconnect.
Okay, I thought Father Washington was Father, go ahead.
No, I want to say, yeah, so they're just going to push me away from my talk. But the point I was trying to drive at is that the argument that they have these different points. I mean, these are beautiful points. But hey, if you want to remove somebody, you don't have to receive money to remove the person. And if you're saying that he's genuine, he's not doing what he expected to do, yeah, come together and remove him. But the fact that you have to receive money just to be able to remove it, the very people who receive the money now are saying now, some of them are saying now, oh, I only signed it, but I thought I should have signed the first place.
Right.
That tells me that the reason why you want to remove him is not a genuine reason in the first place, because or else you wouldn't have received money for it in the first place. So it just shows that when people talk about politicians, I always say politicians are the worst people to lead your country because there's no integrity. Absolutely no integrity.
Okay. All right, Mr. Number, let me just let me push back on you, Father Washington. Look,
go right ahead. I can respond to that.
There might be a couple of seditionists who will benefit from the removal of the speaker, right? The likes of Thomas Fowler, who may be in power for at least, I think, 6 months, up to 6 months, until they find a new speaker. He can be an acting speaker. He might benefit from that.
No, that does not work. It doesn't work that way.
One second now. Let me make my point.
What do you mean 6 months?
That does not say 6 months.
Where did 6 months come from?
What did he get that?
Because usually, when a speaker is removed, you have up to 6 months to elect a new speaker. So you have an acting speaker.
No.
Well, the second point here is by virtue of President, we are calling an emergency meeting to make sure that the plot against Speaker Koffa didn't succeed. Tells you that the CDC hierarchy was not in favor of removing Speaker Koffa.
Okay.
The president could have sit there idle and let this plot to go through.
No, he's expected to do that.
Well, hold on now, guys. I mean, let us not turn to conspiracy theorists on this platform. You have whistleblower, people who came on the platform on social media and showed the money that they received. You had the likes of Safoko. You had other people who went there and almost physically attacked Thomas Fowler. So if this was something that the CDC had agreed upon to do as a party, you weren't going to have the kind of dissent that you had, in the CDC. So the fact there is you might have one or two people who are either motivated by power greed or motivated by the best, motivator in Liberia, money. Money is the best motivation for the Liberians, House and the Senate. So if the president throw money around there, people say to hell with party loyalty. This is 20,000. This is 30,000 cash money in my hand. I can do something for myself and my family, and take that money and forget about the party. So I think this whole thing to try to switch the blame to President Weah that he wants the speaker removed. How does that serve CDC in any way or form? CDC is not going to get the next speaker to remove Koffa. They're not going to put somebody there from the CDC who is functionally, a supporter of President Weah. So it doesn't benefit the CDC in any kind of way. So to say that it's the president or the CDC wants this to happen, it's not true.
30 seconds.
It's not true.
Can I?
30 seconds. Brother Sterling, I want you to come in and chime in on this. Are we helpless as a people? I mean, we act as though the legislature is insulated from the rest of us. I mean, they just do whatever they want. Koffa came into office spreading so much money around. The CDC, they put a lot of money out to get him elected. The UP put a lot of money out. Won over, and Koffa. Now the same money is being used to removing. And where does this end? What can we do as a people?
Nothing.
Or can we? Are we helpless? I mean,
yeah, to some extent, I think we are helpless. Thank you for bringing me on. I thought maybe you were not seeing me in the room.
Oh my man, look, stop
Maybe
the
I need to refresh my screen. Maybe I'm gonna see me going 3 times around. People So this is the thing. This is the thing, brothers, and I'm surprised at some of the things some of us are saying, as though we are oblivion of the fact that the national legislature does not work without bribe. And this is not unique to Liberia. It's the world all over. It's the world over. Even here in America, There is no one law that is passed in DC through the legislature that people are not bribed. They are called lobbyists. The lobbyists are the ones that pay the money. So it's covert. It's not open. There
Oh,
are
Reverend,
no.
so
I'm
that
coming. I'm
did
coming. I'm
Dave,
coming. I will get
Dave,
to it.
no, Dave Blagojevich go to jail in Chicago
Oh
for
man,
trying
the
to sell.
lobby. Okay, what's the job? What's the job of the lobbyist?
No, when at the time when Blagojevich went, he was the sitting governor of Chicago.
Yeah, because he got caught. It doesn't matter. The
No,
job of the
no.
lobbyist, the job of the lobbyists, and the different interest group, the different political interest group. These are people that fund those politicians. There's no politician sitting down in Washington, D.C. that are not being funded by interest groups. The laws they make, they don't make the laws for us. I can give you documentations of laws that people make. Just the lobbyists are the one that pay the money to the people, and they are done in a way that is not exposed.
Yeah, but
In Liberia,
in Liberia, the
yeah.
actors themselves are the ones spreading the money.
Good. So
not the packs.
The difference when it comes to Liberia is because we don't have the lobbyists who are the middle people between the politicians and the interest groups and the past. In the Liberian legislature, there is nothing that is passed that the brown envelope doesn't go around. I'm coming. Let me learn that the brown envelope doesn't go around. Everything they do, they pay money to do it. People want that. You want to put this petition on the floor. The lawmakers speak to each other. Hey, that's just my stuff. I'm the one behind this. Everybody does something there. Money change every day at the national legislature. That's how it works in Liberia. It has become the culture. Now, the very speaker, Fonati Koffa, how did he become the Speaker of the House? Let us not forget, another lawmaker posted. And it's right here. We got it, in fact, in our chat group, Focus on Liberia chat group. A lawmaker posted that for Fonati Koffa to become the Speaker, people took money. Honorable J. Marvin Cole reviewed that lawmaker who voted for Koffa in January received $45,000. So that's how he got there. Fonati Koffa himself had taken bribe for most of the other bills that they had passed. So it's not like he also not part of the problem. He is part of the problem. And the Bible says, he who lived by the sword died by the sword. The only reason
John Palmer was not John Rice.
Yeah, the only reason we're discussing this is because somebody exposed it. If nobody exposed it, we wouldn't even be discussing this. They would have just done it. The next thing we'll hear, oh, Fonati Koffa has been removed as speaker, because somebody exposed it. The same thing Yeka Koluba did in January when lawmakers went to President Bwaka's house. They also received money so that they could stop Fonati Koffa from becoming speaker. Somebody else exposed that. We did not make all this noise. So I'm surprised that we're pretending like, oh, this is so new. It has never happened before. This is what happened every day. And then to my brother F's point, I'm surprised there is no investigation that has been conducted that tied Joseph Boakai to this thing, but Elvis on this platform for 3-4 different times has said it is President Boakai's doing. And I'm no avid supporter of President Boakai, but no investigation has pointed to that fact. But at the same time, Elvis doesn't want to accept that it could be the CDC, because I also have another post from another group that said the CDC stalwarts were angry that Fonati Koffa was stepping out of line. He was rubbing shoulder too much with the executive, and that's why they wanted him removed. Elvis, I don't think Elvis has ever been the mob boss or been close to it. That because President Weah called for emergency meeting doesn't mean if they were the one who masterminded. He could not be part of it. I could throw the rag and be the first person to shout so that people don't look at me. So we're discussing this thing like, oh, it has never happened. The house is run on bribery and corruption. Every bill in that house is followed with brown envelope for people to vote. They're not voting on anything in that house in the interest of the Liberian people. Everything in that house is voted based on interest, based on who pays money. So let us not be surprised that, oh, this. But to your question, and then I will stop, is, are the Liberian people that we are inundated with these things? We are helpless. The people are helpless because the very people we elect are the people that do these things. Back in the days, it was, oh, the Congo people. If you go to the house now, it's full of the native boys. And the native boys have become more corrupt then they conquer people. So what are we talking? Where was Fonati Koffa when the budget was tampered with? What did he do? After the budget was tampered with, they did investigation. Who are the culprits? Let's see those names. What are the punitive measures? Let us see those things. The budget was cut severely. MVTC, the nation's highest vocational institute, Fonati Koffa as speaker overseeing the budget. How much is it for MVTC? $4,000 for a whole school vocational training. But they pack all the money in NSA, they pack all the money in SSS, they pack all the money. Fonati Koffa as a speaker is there. Joseph Barker is buying $1.2 million bulletproof cars. What did he do? He also is a part of the problem. So just because it has become exposed, people are being so sentimental. It's foolishness. Yeah, the people are
Mr.
trying to know what to do.
Mr. Nabo, I want to ask a 30 seconds. You think I'll give him a turn? Let me talk.
Thank you.
Mr. I just wanted to interject something here for Nagwe.
Elvis, hang on, Duke. Let me ask you this, Duke. Let's look at this whole thing here. Is there any good to come out of it, or is it all just bad? The whole attempt to remove council giving
The whole saga,
all of these
the whole
concerns.
saga is all bad. I don't see anything good coming from out of it. But before going further, I just wanted to respectfully differ with Brother Salif that lobbying is not bribery. And
It's
just so
legal
you know,
bribery. Lobbying is legal bribery.
So
well,
you differ with Brasili on his difference with Elvis. Okay, I think we're going somewhere.
as a matter of fact, it's part of the First Amendment of the United States Constitution. And with that said, lobbying is regulated. It's not just you just get up and do what. No, it's regulated, and it can be done. It can be performed by an individual or an organization. And so there's a framework that governs lobbying in the United States. That's one. Second, United States is not a place where children take their own benches and go to school. United States is not a place where when you get sick, you have to go to India, or you go to Ghana, you go for medical care. We're talking about a place where people survive on $1 per day, brother. We're talking about a place where there's no electricity nationwide. We're talking about a place that, I mean, I'm sorry, but there's no equivocation between what happened in Liberia and what happened in the United States. I mean, let's just not go that far. With that said, Brother Nangwe, look, the calculus right now is to see to it that Koffa doesn't survive. And it just, it's become a vicious cycle where the political parties that are in the House, once there's a falling out with one individual, the president tried to lobby the other lawmakers so that they come after him. Like I said, if the trend just continued, there really hasn't been any diversion from what was established since we started this new republic. So there's nothing good that is going to come out of it for us, and so this is just the beginning. Like I said earlier, I see this as the beginning of what is going to eventually lead to Fonati being removed from the speakership, because you see, it's sort of like this is not a tired attempt. We need to move on to a new strategy, and the strategy is going to be somebody who is going to fall in line with all these disgruntled lawmakers and anybody who is going to be willing to join them, so that they can sing from the same pipe. And as they move along, something goes wrong, then they come back and say, you know what, we need to change course. But in the end, at the end of all of this, the Liberian people are the victim of all of this. The Liberian institutions that's supposed to be there to steer things in the right direction are the victim of all of this. And so sometimes when I see or hear people even attempt to compare anything, and I mean anything in the United States or anything in Liberia, it baffles me, because people say, oh, there's corruption in the United States. Yes, If you go to bed hungry in the United States, then you have chosen to do so. The people that go to bed hungry in Liberia, they have no choice. They go to bed because they have no choice. You got food banks here, you got churches here, you name it. And I mean, we've all have experiences where, maybe at some point in time in your life, you are going to food bank, you get whatever it is they call it. How many people in Liberia have access to any of that? For somebody to take $15,000, you know how much family can $15,000 feed for a month? And yet we want to say that's is a form of bribery. Even in the United States, it's done. In the United States, if you break the lobbying law, you go to prison, you go to jail, even though it's part of the First Amendment rights of the Americans. So it's governed by legislation. It's not just something random. So really, it bothers me when you make such a comparison, because the people who are in the House of Representatives, their sole purpose of going there is to enrich themselves to begin with. They are not there because they want to advance something for their constituents. No, they are not there for that. So what you see unfolding is really what they are there for.
Really, Dupley. Why have we not done anything about guns in America? Because the LRA pays these people through. What are we talking about? Are you telling me Liberia is more corrupt than America? Is that what you're telling me? You think I don't understand what lobbying is?
So let me ask you this, Reverend Sully.
Yeah.
Are you telling me that Water and Sewer is a lobbyist?
No. Water and Sewer is a government.
Exactly.
Mr. Naba, please don't make my point for me. You hosted it. Let me come in and make that point.
It's not a lobbying group. Water and Sewer is not a lobbying group.
Okay, exactly. the reason Mr. Naba brought that up is because it's been circulating that Water and Sewer are one of the ministry that put money that helped to fund the 25,000 that was supposed to be receiving for to these lawmakers. And I want you to ask yourself, how many of those 47 lawmakers were seditious? How many of them were seditious? That's what you have to ask yourself. If you say the CDC wants to remove Koffa,
I never said so.
One second. When I say it wasn't the CDC, everybody said no.
No. You did not hear me right. I said there's another post. There's a post, and I can share the post with you, that seditious are blaming seditious for removing Koffa because Koffa is too close to the executive. It's not what I'm saying.
We're logical people to understand if somebody make a erroneous post and evidence doesn't buttress it. The point here is, look at the 47 names. One second, Reverend.
Answer the question. What's your
one second, please. Let me make my point, sir.
No, but
when you look at the one second, please. When you look at the 47 names on the list, I want you to look at the names carefully and count how many of those are seditious, how many are independents, and how many are UPIST. That will let you know if it's That will let you know if this was a coup supported by the CDC.
It doesn't.
That's
matter.
the point.
Money doesn't know.
It does matter.
Money
Please.
doesn't know party. When people get bribed,
I mean, Mr. Namu, please. I don't want to talk over Pastor Salih.
Okay.
So I'm begging you to intervene.
Take a break.
But lastly,
Elvis, give me a second. Programming note here, Mr. Ja or Mr. Sear. Please put the call number up so that our callers can start getting ready. Elvis, end your point, and Reverend Shirley, you have a second to about 5 seconds to react to it. But let's do it one at a time.
Right, and then quickly look.
Yes, end your point.
The representative who was in the car, who was showing up the actual cash money in his hand, told you who gave him the money. It wasn't the CDC. The other lawmakers, Goshua, and other people who were acting like undercover people and went in there without the true intention of actually removing the speaker, they never said that it was the CDC that gave them money. The money came from the United Party-led government. And people had speculated that it was from certain agencies that can be verified, but the fact that it wasn't the CDC. And just by virtue of the amount of seditious that signed on that list tells you that it wasn't widely supported by the CDC. That's the point. So when you ask who wanted to remove the speaker, that's your answer. It's right there in the list of signatures. Thank you.
So So you want us to
I,
believe?
I want to contribute.
You want us to take your word for it
Yeah.
that it is Joseph Boakai and Elvis should be the law and gospel.
Yes.
We should accept it. But when other people say, "Oh no, it's the CDC," we should completely dismiss that.
But he's mentioning a clear evidence.
That's
Reverend
exactly
Washington.
what you're
All right,
doing.
Reverend Washington.
Yeah, he's mentioning a very clear evidence.
Here's the point.
Gentlemen,
You said I will get 5 seconds to rebut.
Reverend Washington, let's give Reverend Sullivan.
So here's my 5 seconds.
Let's give Reverend Sullivan a minute.
After one of the mass shootings here in America, and this is going to Duke. After one of the mass shootings, young children, school children, got together in Florida. They went and they called Senator Marco Rubio to a town hall, and they challenged him. After those children spoke so passionately, and I was trying to find that video and maybe share it with you personally. What did Marco Rubio say? He said, children, you don't understand what you're doing, that there are people who paid into our campaign. So it's not something that we can just get up and say, oh, we'll do this, we'll do that. Who are the people that paid into the politicians' campaign? How does the money get paid into their campaign? That's where the lobbyists come in. The thing we don't understand about America is they legalize everything, anything they do, tips. When I go somewhere, tips should be to ensure proper service. If I'm satisfied, I should be able to tip. It's a law. You go to the place, it's already written. I don't have the choice whether I tip or I don't tip. They put it in there. Sometimes I walk away. It's my freedom. I should be able to tip. Hold on. They legalize everything. Everything we do in Africa is wrong. Anything they do in America, because they put it in the legal framework, that means everything is right. So you think I don't study lobbying? I know how lobbying is done. I know the people who make up the lobby. You register as a lobbyist, you do all these things, but those are the lobbyists are the middle people between the politicians and the interest group that pay them the millions of dollars. You know how rich American legislators are? Where do they make the money from? You know their salaries? How do they make all that money?
Thank you, Reverend
Sully. Tell me about lobbying?
That was 4 seconds, not even 5 seconds.
Yeah, okay. Let me just go back. Let me just go back for a second here, Brad Langway. My point of all of this is we are talking about the Republic of Liberia here, where people are destitute, people are poor, people are just, basic services are not there. And in the United States, if you want to break it down state by state, people, they are living well. They are better off in so many ways. They themselves will be the first to tell you that our union is not a perfect one. They're still working on it to make it better. So my contention with what you say is that we are talking about a country where I'm not even sure if the Ministry of Education knows how many schools there are in the Republic. There are not good hospitals. There are just so many things that is wrong with that country. And for you to say here that it's another form of corruption where in the US they call it lobbying. It's just a mischaracterization of things in Liberia. I'm sorry.
You did not hear me right, Mr. Dukley. I was only trying to say that in every legislature around the world, and I repeat my words, that money change hands. It's not unique to Liberia. That was the comparison that I made. And you took my comparison completely out of context to bring in the wealth in America and the poverty in Liberia. I was just saying in every national legislature, in every country.
You got let Attorney Freeman and Father Washington speak.
I have a point to make on this thing.
Just a second. Councilor, you're coming. Father Washington has been waiting for a while. Jimmy too has been waiting. So we'll go Father Washington, Jimmy, then you come in for Councilor.
But maybe they don't have a point now.
Father Washington, do you want Councilor to come in?
Yeah, let him go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, I think, don't forget to back me up. You're coming to back me up. So you might back me up.
What I make is a very quick point. We can't go looking for where the money comes from. When Fonati Koffa was there, when there was 15 million extra budgetary expenditure spent, as a speaker, he could have ordered an investigation. He could have forwarded that matter to the LSCC or the Ministry of Justice. He was there. And in that 15 million extra budgetary, 2.5 million went to NSA for covert operation. How do we know it's not the same 2.5 million that is not being used to remove a Fonati Koffa? So it is in his interest, it is in the interest of the speaker to work in the interest of the country. When the country is corrupt, then a lot of things can go out of whack and things can happen with our plan. You're talking about $2.3 million in miscellaneous expenses. Have you ever had miscellaneous enter million? And Fonati Koffa was there when $2.3 million in miscellaneous expenses was spent. So miscellaneous plus covert operation, that's 2.5 plus 2.3, that's 4.5 million. They have not even started using the money on him. So by the time they get through half of that money, Fonati will be gone.
So what is the point?
Thank you, Councillor.
Talk about the part why I prove the evidence. Talk about that part why I show the evidence in the people who voted for the thing.
The point there is that you don't have to worry about where the money came from. Fonati is partly responsible for allowing extra budgetary expenditure without accountability, and some of the money is filtering back to remove him.
That's possible. Father Washington.
Yeah, so for me, I don't know. I've been listening, but I didn't get the point. So, but the thing I wanted to bring forward is that the allegation that was made against Mo Ali and that of the transport minister came from a sedition. So that's the point I wanted to make, because the same CDC people who you know, they try to remove, they might try to remove their own people, but they try to find people who they think are the ones behind it. So they kind of try in their way of going down with, and they say, oh, these are, well, so for me, like Mo Ali said that was he said he didn't get that kind of money. Not to say they like draw water and see what.
Well, what about the Minister of Transport? They haven't said anything. Mo Ali
so he did speak. He said he didn't.
He did.
Yeah, he spoke.
He said, I must have missed that. Okay.
So yeah, he spoke. He said they had nothing to do with that. So if people, so the people who are claiming they give the money, they should show where the money came from, because they are the one who are accusing people to. So they should be the one to prove where the money is coming from. For me, I think it's not even important about the money, because at the end of the day, why would somebody want to get money just to remove somebody? If you claim that the person is not doing their work well, just say that, come together, put our plans together, and remove this person. But if they take the money back from them, then they would not remove Koffa. Does it not send a message to all of us? I think people are very general about what they're saying that he has done, but they want to remove him because somebody has given them the money to remove him, which is sad for our country.
Right.
But let me chime in one bit.
Go ahead.
This is something I find peculiar about this bribery. They have yet to name who gave the money. And I find that strange. If you receive $50,000,
who gave it to you?
Who gave it to you? How come? Why are they hiding the person who gave the money? It's something very, very. Look, we are in trouble. That den of thieves or wolves in that place, they don't care about us.
No.
They're doing everything for their own benefit. Even when they so-called whistleblower coming to bring people to book, they don't even mention who gave them the money. What is that? They think we're so stupid. But you know what? I can tell you, Liberian people are not stupid. You would do this until the Liberian people get fed up. That's what's going to happen. Taking advantage of Liberians, giving yourself fabulous salary, paying yourself extra amount and extra allowances and all of that. These things not going down well. They're profiting from it now, but it will come to a rude awakening. That's what's going to happen.
Thank you, Jimmy. As we wait for our callers to get online, Councilor Freeman, I know Reverend Sully has indicated that in the Western world, they have the lobbyists, and then we have the PACs. Usually, they do most of the expenditure. We don't have those in Liberia, but yet there's so much money being spent in such a poor country. Is there any culpability here? Especially, every attempt seems to be raising the bar. We started at $5,000 to remove Snow, $10,000 to remove Tyler. Now we're talking $15,000 upfront, $10,000 to follow. When you do the math, that's almost $2 million that we're spending just to remove the Speaker of the House of Representatives. When schools even in Kakata, not to mention, Tapita or Zwedru or Maryland. Their school building, we see where the children still sit on the floor in the classroom. $2 million could really do a lot of good. I don't necessarily believe we men be helpless here, but I still think there's something we should be able to do. I mean, you are the legal person. Are we really that completely helpless about this?
Yeah, I think first let me clarify the difference in the two approaches. So we're in the US, the people who are lobbying are private sector actors. So if the private sector actor spend 1 million, 2 million, whatever billion to try to influence, and he is registered, it's different from, because in Liberia, where the money is coming from is public sector. So they may appear the same, but they are not the same because of the source of the funding. So I beg to differ on that line. The other thing I want to say is the GST, the LSCC, the Ministry of Justice, the police, those are the body, they don't need any special authority to act.
Yeah.
They don't need any permission. But they will not act because the political culture and the way these bodies are structured, they become subservient mentally and professionally to the president. The Ministry of Justice does not need any permission to order an investigation into bribery allegation, whether in the private sector, in the public sector, and based on the evidence, they order anybody arrested. He doesn't need permission. The same way with the audit, the General Auditing Commission. We just make a noise, but the General Auditing Commission does not need any permission from anybody to audit anybody who receives government money. No.
Yeah.
But we have a political culture in Liberia where if somebody appoints you, you become beholden to them and you have to show gratitude. And those are the problems. So we have a solution, but we have decided, for example, the LSCC, we pay them a whole bunch of money. We give them independence. We give them tenure. Why can't they order an investigation? They will not order because the political culture, and you people are the politicians. The political culture is that when somebody appoints you, you have to show gratitude. So it is a little bit of the culture, and I would say I'm a system person, so I would say the system, the way the appointing system is structured and the way it works, sometimes it doesn't work well to the benefit. But yeah, you don't need special permission from the police, the FBI. If crime is committed, the FBI move in.
Yeah.
There's no reason why the police can move in, but the police will not move in because the police is appointed by Waka, the whole hierarchy is appointed, and the fee that they owe him gratitude. So when the ruling party people are breaking the law, they can take no action. But yes, the police, the GSC, the LSCC, the Ministry of Justice, they don't need any permission from anybody to investigate any crime committed in Liberia.
Especially the Ministry of Justice, I understand by law, the minister is the only person who can publicly disagree with the president and not have any consequences.
But he will not do it because he feels that Bwaka appointed him and he owes his allegiance to Bwaka. So if the ruling party people, commit crimes, it is his job to protect them. That is the thing that is killing Liberia. Apart from what the politicians are doing, that is the thing that is killing Liberia. I think we have to do some structuring, but even now, as we speak, what stops LSCC from investigating the $15 million extra budgetary expenditure, especially where NSA told 2.5 and said it for covert. Then Bwaka and his people told 2.3 and said that petty cash. I'm first time hearing petty cash 2.3. I don't even know if Bill Gates have petty cash like that. So we have a solution, but are we going to use it? That's the question.
I think the problem is, Counselor, we are not, Liberians, we are also part of the problems. We are never honest in discussing the Liberian problems. We discuss Liberian problems based on which camp we are in, based on who we are affiliated with. We never objective. If my people are the one carrying out the corruption, you know what? I will find every means to defend it. If it is the other side doing the corruption, I'm in a hurry to expose it. And
so which camp are we?
And that is the problem. Okay.
What is my camp?
No, I did not say you. I'm saying all of us. I'm not saying you. I'm saying the problem the way we. I'm including myself. We discuss Liberia's problem. We discuss it based on affiliation. We discuss the Liberian problem based on our interest. So we got to come to the point where we are objective and call these things out, because all these things that are happening, they are eroding trust in our democracy. All these things that are happening, they are destroying our quest for sustainable development. Too much money is being wasted in Liberia, in the legislature, especially the legislature. Every year, they find a way to increase their spending. Every year.
Thank you. Every year.
Every year. No year they come down to say, you know what? The economy is ailing. The economy is struggling. Let us cut down. Every year they want to drive the most expensive cars. Every year they just keep
every year.
It's a problem. So we, as a people, like Jay Victor talked about, whether the people are helpless, we got to come to that point. Until we remove money from our politics, it will always be the same thing.
You see, for me, when I also look at the Liberian problem, like you say, it's all of us, all
of us.
Let us assume we take all the money from the legislature, bring it into the executive, put it into schools. You think that is going to solve our problem?
No.
That's not going to solve our problem.
But it will be a step.
It will not be a step. You know why? Because our people are so bad and wicked. I'm saying, in Liberia, you take that same money, give it to somebody and say, okay, you're supposed to cook for the children, you're supposed to cook for the children in the school because our children are hungry, they get out of school. That person will start stealing that money, taking the fish, taking the thing, taking it to their houses. It's a cultural thing.
You're right, Father.
It's a cultural thing. It's so sad that you take that very money, you say, okay, all the money will go and give it to these people. But people will start stealing that money again. So at the end of the day, even the little that they send to the schools, they send to the hospitals, then they steal that little again that it doesn't even get to the people. It hurts my heart because it's just a cultural thing. So everybody is inside.
Father, the thing is simple. That's why I say it's a step. The reason I say it's a step, Liberia problem is easy to solve. We just have to develop the political will. That is one step, right? The next step is we have to completely shun this culture of impunity. When somebody does wrong, let them be punished. Let them be held accountable. Because every time we give people a pass, we embody other people to do it. So if I did something, punish me. If Ismail did something, punish him. If Victor Number wants to do it, he said, no, I saw what it did to Salim.
Who is going to
I saw
punish?
what it did to Ismail.
That's what I'm saying. Who's going to punish?
We got to develop that
Who's
will.
going to punish? Let me tell you one secret. I remember some time ago, they had ghost names on the payroll. They said we sent GSA people there and we expose it. GSA people got there. They saw the ghost name. Nobody told the people, we know ghost name on the thing, but we will share it. So who's going to do it?
The question you're asking is the leadership question. Yeah. But it's not that we don't have the laws and the institutions in place.
The laws are there.
Yes, the laws are there. The institutions are there. It is the leadership question. For example, I mentioned the GSC. All this thing about auditing the house, the GSC doesn't need a permission. Once they receive, I can't even make a point.
The very GSC people are corrupt.
No, that was not necessarily true. The point is, for example, let's take the case even of the central bank, right? Let's take the case of the central bank. GSC went in and audited and for a whole bunch of criminal activity going on. What did Bwaka do? Bwaka was only interested in appointing Hekolahun brother. That's all he was. He got Hekolahun brother, he put Hekolahun brother there, and that was it. All the money that was stolen, he could have ordered investigation. Even if he didn't, Ministry of Justice on their own accord, standing on their law, could have investigated. They didn't do it. LACC on their own would have done it. They didn't do it. And Bwaka, who is now overall, who should make the decision, obviously, I know he wouldn't do it. I have no respect for him. He's an utterly incompetent and corrupt-minded president. So Liberia made a mistake. And then the worst case, Liberia took corrupt Bwaka, incompetent, and then added him to that criminal or vice president, and then added him to an ex-felon. in the name of Fonati. So you got 1, 2, 3.
Well,
Corrupt,
I think
incompetent.
I think it's
But
becoming.
Jimmy,
Yeah,
I was going to come to you, Jimmy.
yeah.
Let me ask you
Because
this.
honestly, we're talking about this corruption. It's starting with them saying that the vice president does not want to audit. And there's a reason why he doesn't want to audit.
And that's
Because when Thomas Father was stealing,
I was going to Jimmy.
when Thomas Father was stealing as I know, chair of the Ways and Means, what his name of Jeremiah Kuhn was his deputy. They were both stealing together. And Bwaka was the beneficiary of the proceeds of the crime because he decided that the people who always steal from the legislature, those are the people who will be running mate. So you got an ex-felon as number 1, 2, 3. I mean, you got these people. So we have sold ourselves no leadership, and that is part of the reason why maybe the Ministry of Justice or the LSCC decided, well, we can do anything, but actually standing on their law, they can take action.
Thank you, Jimmy. You know, never mind Councillor Koffa's past, right? Never mind even his omission while he was speaker, you know, what he could have done. But it looks like he was starting to gear up for something meaningful. We talk about the audit that he is already commissioning. I know Councillor doesn't agree. He doesn't think it is the right audit, but he's at least he's starting to talk about that. Then there are reports that he is now pledging to tighten the budgeting process. You know, the recent budget here has been cast and recast and recast. We heard there were alterations, even though he said he didn't recognize who signed for whatever it was, but now going forward, I think he's committing to a much tighter process. Looks like there's something happening here. Tell us, if Fonati were to lose this battle, who's on the landscape right now? Who's on the spectrum?
Oh my. Well, when he loses,
question.
I don't think but when he loses, it will be a free for all.
Yeah.
You see, I think we're trying to point to the cause, and cause and effect of all the things we do. But what it really boils down, we're not very sincere with ourselves. We're not honest. We can bring good points, but we're not honest with ourselves. I sometimes I listen to they talk about this era, and then when the next era they give a pass. I've been hearing as one of y'all mentioned the Liberia of 1800 and 1900 is not the same. The world is not the same. We shouldn't even compare ourselves with that era when there was slavery going on and colonization. We shouldn't even compare because we are not in the same era. But we have to be honest about this and say this is this era here where people are free, nobody's being colonized and everything, but we can't get it ourselves together. We allude to things to give ourselves an excuse to keep on doing the same thing over and over again. Koffa, he's making an attempt, but you can see the kind of battle he is against. Anybody, even a president, who will go against this system, this systematic way of stealing and corruption, you will have a big fight on your hand. If they will get rid of you if they can, and you gotta expect that. So it was gonna take. Even we get a good president, it's gonna take him gonna have to be very brave to go against this system.
And it's gonna be a bloodbath to replace Koffa. But gentlemen, we've done great tonight. It looks like Elvis got tucked in early, but there are about six of us on set, and we have about 8 minutes left. So you cannot close for more than 1 minute. Then you'll put over the limit. So I'm gonna be a stickler for the time. We'll have 1 minute each to close.
We'll start with those other questions.
We did the best we could.
Yeah, thumb is up.
Yeah, we did the best we could. We spent too much time on one or the other. But starting with Duke. Duke, you're closing 1 minute, brother.
That's okay. I mean, I just wanted to use my first half of the 1 minute and say, in my opinion, I've said this before, I'm going to repeat it again tonight. The way forward for Liberia, the first step will be education. And education from the very beginning, from kindergarten, from nursery to upward, and these virtues that we're talking about get molded into kids at a very young age, and they grew up with it. I've cited many examples before. You're walking in the park here, and your dog poop. You got a little plastic to clean after your dog. These things are molded in those kids' mind, and they grew up with it. So that's the kind of revolution we need in Liberia. People go into public service because they want to serve. They don't go into public service because they want to enrich themselves. So, and I just hope that somebody is listening, and I think everybody here is they try their best to be as objective as they can possibly be. I know for sure I belong to no political party, and my views are mine and mine only, and I'm independent in my thinking. So sometimes yes, people get you can get sympathetic, you become sympathetic with certain position, but at the end of the day, this is a nation that is almost 180 years old. We don't
5 more
expect
seconds,
this.
brother. 5 more seconds.
This should not be the way forward. Thank you.
Thank you, dude. Father, why is done? Your 1 minute closing, Father.
I always say I think our country is cursed, and society say that, but I think this country is cursed, and because it just you take out one person, you put the next person there, the same attitude, and human beings naturally don't want to obey. So if you give them an opportunity not to obey, they will not obey. So when I hear people make comparison about people in the United States, because because if they don't do it, there's something there that makes them to do it or to pay penalty for doing it. So if Liberia wants to change, then that's the way they need to go, because or else nothing is going to change in our country. So I just feel like Douglas said, the way to do it is education. Education is the way to just have our kids to learn something better, learn the virtues that you got to be honest in everything that you do. I think that's the way to go.
Thank you, Father. Thank you very much. Very good, quick observation of the time. Reverend Sharif, your 1 minute closing, brother.
Thank you. I will just say it very succinctly. Number one, I think to solve the problem, we have to introduce punitive measure. People should be held accountable whenever they do wrong, whenever they are involved with corruption. Number two, a question was asked: who are to blame? The leaders? No, it's half of the answer. Both the problems in Liberia are caused by the leaders and the people, because the ordinary people will celebrate those roles. While you and me here are making noise, they celebrate those guys. They praise those guys everywhere they go. Election time, any of us on this panel go and say you want to run election in Liberia, they will dump you. It's those same criminals that were elected. So they also are part of the problem, the leaders and the people. And finally, to my point that was taken out of context, in every legislature around the world, in every country, money change hand in every legislature, because that's how they pass laws, that's how they write bills, that's how they do these things. There is no legislature in any country in this world that they will pass a bill and money does not change hands. So as I said, it's not unique to Liberia. And I said, also, for example, in America, the same thing happened. And then everybody just took it out of context. I wasn't comparing Liberia and America. All that I was saying, money change hands in every legislature, and Liberia is not unique. And I'm surprised that we are making this thing sound like, oh, this is the first time. It keeps happening. It will still happen. The next time they go in plenary, money will still change hands. So let us hold people accountable. Let people pay for their crimes. And every other person will take note and they will not want to do it.
Thank you very much, my brother. Councilor Freeman, your 1 minute closing.
Okay, so
Jimmy will take us home.
I like the education point. I think the education that I support is when people commit crime, you should arrest them and prosecute them, and then they will be educated in prison. And those who are not in prison will also be educated by seeing them being in prison. That's the kind of education that I support. I also see that the LSCC, the Ministry of Justice, the GSC. GSC does not need any special permission to audit the Senate and the House and NSA and all these people abusing government money. Anybody who receives government money is subject to audit. But with this, use the law to take action. The same with the Ministry of Justice, the National Police, the LSCC. Those people, the LSCC in particular, they have tenure, and we pay them a whole lot of money. So why don't they do what they are supposed to do? I don't know. Maybe no guts. Maybe they were sent there particularly by the CDC people so that they can protect their CDC people, whatever. But when the system is corrupted, everything will be corrected. For example, I've been crying for long for the money going to NSA. Nobody pay attention, but now I see NSA money and petty cash expenditure. All that money is going back to the House to remove a speaker. So those are the things. But yes, I support education. I like the education where you jail people and then the other people get educated by the jailing of corrupt people.
Thank you, Councilor.
Yeah.
I like that analogy. Thank you.
Jimmy, take us home, brother.
Yes, I'll take us home. The French. Somebody has a radio going in the background. Okay.
Yeah, sorry, it was me.
I think somebody got a way boy. You want to mute? Okay.
The
French have a way of describing education. When you just go to school and learn book, as the old people used to say, they call that former. We have formed your thinking. That's not being educated. Being educated is developing values. Our behavior follows our values. If we value money more than protect our dignity, then we will behave in certain ways. So if we're going to approach education, we have to teach value. I think something eroded our values before and after during the war. Our values changed. We accepted everything, and we need to be restored. Our values need to be restored. We are not the same Liberians we were before, and the only way we will get back on track is to restore the values we had before. That we frown upon any kind of corruption. We frown upon any kind of exploiting of children. We frown upon many different. The preacher here, he would tell you, if we don't put those values back in the center part of our lives, we will continue to act in this way as if we don't. We behave with impunity because there's no value. You have to have value before you would behave yourself the way you should.
Thank you very much, Jimmy, and thank you ever so much, gentlemen. Very stimulating discussion tonight. You brought your best to the table. I want to thank our audience. They have been pretty interactive tonight, even though Mr. Wallo continues to call me out. I don't know what it is he wants from me, but I think we had a great show. Let me remind you, on Sunday, there will be On Point at 4 o'clock Eastern. Make it a plan. Make it your plan to join us then. Until then, we say what? We're all Liberians. We're all one. Where is Mr.
I got you.
Thank you.
We are Liberians. Liberia is our home. Liberian people. Liberia.